Tonight, regional MPs dominate the new state cabinet.
A woman killed after a quad bike rolls at Lowmead.
A Queensland trial to help smokers give up.
And funding to boost female First Nations rangers.
This is 7 News with Joanne, Desmond and Nathan Spurling.
Good evening, thanks for joining us.
Good evening.
The Premier unveiled his new cabinet today with more than half of his ministry made up of regional MPs. And while all former shadow ministers remain in the mix, some will step into new roles.
David Crisafulli spent 4 years working for this moment.
I, David Frank Crisafulli, do sincerely promise and swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III. From the Deputy Premier to the Minister for Transport, regional Queensland is well represented in the state's new government. I promised Queenslanders a fresh start, and this is the team to deliver it. It will be the team that takes forward the opportunities that Queenslanders need. Jared Blay, David Janetsky, Deb Frecklington, Dale Last, Anne Lay, Fiona Simpson, Amanda Cam, Brent Mickelberg, Dan Purdy, Tony Perrott and Andrew Powell, all rewarded after gruelling years in opposition. For our term in opposition, you saw 20 faces, and they will be the 20 faces that lead the government in this term of office. Despite promising before the election each new minister would keep their previous shadow portfolio, changes have been made. Ros has been promoted to one of the most senior roles in this government, and her focus on finance and trade will show the world that Queensland is open for business again.
I've gone through 3 health ministers who made health even worse, so it's a passionate area for me, but this is a fresh start for me into the future.
Meaning she won't be held accountable if Queensland Health doesn't reach the LNP's promised improvements. Parliament will sit for the first time on November 26. Christian Penny, 7 News.
A 59-year-old woman has died after her quad bike rolled on John Clifford Way at Lowmead, south of Gladstone. The forensic crash unit is investigating the incident, which was around 11 o'clock yesterday morning. Anyone with information is urged to contact police.
KAP leader Robbie Katter has thrown his support behind an online proposal to combine North Queensland with the Northern Territory to create a new state called Northern Australia. He says it would bring power back to the north.
There's a new proposal to redraw the state lines.
I understand North Queenslanders feel like they're a bit removed from the southeast and the southern states.
An unofficial map has circulated online combining North Queensland with its neighbours in the Northern Territory.
No, keep it to Queensland.
Bit random, I think.
Similar issues, however, I think it's easier to control if we just stay single.
KAP leader Robbie Katter says it could be an opportunity to free the north.
It would make a lot of sense to combine with other northern cousins to get more adequately represented and representation that's fit for purpose.
It's not the first time Robbie Katter has supported the separation of North Queensland. In May this year, he put forward a motion to Parliament to split the state in 2.
Maybe we can do things differently in Australia. Those lines drawn on a map 165 years ago, perhaps they're not meant to be there indefinitely forever and ever and ever. It's just a sense of frustration. There's a large disparity between what's spent in the southeast corner and up here. We're still looking in this Bruce Highways flogged, the Flinders Highways flogged.
Shana Macbeth, 7 News.
Pay rises worth thousands of dollars a year are flowing through to workers under so-called same job, same pay legislation. Blake Johnson explains the new rules and who's in line for a pay packet boost.
Some long-haul flight attendants with Qantas just scored a 28% pay rise under this legislation that targets companies using labour hire firms. Those firms sometimes provide a backdoor way to pay staff less, despite doing the same work as employees of the parent company.
For too long, we've seen big companies in Australia employ permanent employees at one pay rate and then top up their workforce by bringing in labour hire employees on much lower rates and conditions.
The same job, same pay laws affect around 800 Qantas cabin crew, 320 workers at a mine in Queensland who will receive up to 20 grand a year more, and staff at a Queensland meatworks who can expect pay rises of up to 25%.
Qantas has not employed a long-haul flight attendant since before 2007. So it's incredible that we've been able to sit down and negotiate a fair outcome.
Industry groups warn of the increased cost and claim it removes discretion around hiring employees at different stages of their career.
Well, this is just another step that's going to make it harder for employers to engage Australians. It takes no account of a person's background, their responsibility, their experience.
The federal opposition says it will repeal the same job, same pay laws if it's elected next year.
All right, thanks for that, Blake. All new household spending data reveals a mixed bag for consumers. In Queensland, household spending rose by 3.4%, with increases in miscellaneous goods and services, health and household furnishings. Comparatively, spending on transport dropped 3.7%. On a national scale, alcohol and tobacco sales dropped by 16% and spending at restaurants and cafes dipped nearly 2%.
Anyone who's tried to give up smoking knows how difficult it can be, even with a packet now costing up to $80. Queensland researchers are hoping to change that, offering nicotine replacement products if smokers sign up for a new trial.
The day Terry Byrne quit smoking was the day she was diagnosed with lung cancer in 2007. The on and off smoker of 20 years carries regret every single day about a decision she made in her teens.
So I've only got less than a quarter of a lung on one side. It scares me what I leave behind.
Fewer than 10% of Australians smoke daily, but it remains the country's leading cause of preventable death and disease.
Lung cancer screening can reduce mortality by 21%. Combining that with smoking cessation can almost double that mortality benefit.
A new study by the University of Queensland hopes to find ways to increase screening and quitting, calling for 1,000 Queensland smokers aged 50 to 80 to take part.
The only costs to the participant is getting to and from the CT scanner.
The scan itself will be free and can detect lung cancer before the silent and secret killer takes hold.
Like, you don't have to wait on a waiting list to go and get it done.
If we can pick up something early, we can cure you. And at the same time, we can help you quit smoking. So this is a double win.
Nicotine patches, gums and lozenges will also be provided. Queenslanders who register with Quitline can join the trial to send their habit up in smoke. Connor Alforque, 7 News.
One Nation leader, Pauline Hanson, has been found guilty of racially vilifying Green Senator Maheen Faruqi. The federal court found a post on Twitter X in 2022 which told Faruqi to return to Pakistan. It was an angry personal attack that conveyed a strong form of racism. Justice Angus Stewart has ordered Hanson to delete the post within 7 days and to pay Faruqi's legal costs.
The federal government has announced a $355 million investment to expand the Indigenous Rangers program. First Nations women will be at the forefront of the funding boost, with more than 700 jobs set aside, including projects in regional Queensland.
1,000 additional rangers will be employed to protect our land and sea over the next 4 years.
These are programs that really deliver good economic outcomes, good community outcomes and good outcomes for the environment.
$86 million has been committed for 35 new Indigenous Ranger groups in Queensland, employing hundreds of First Nation women.
We're aiming to employ 770 female First Nations Rangers and to see them become an increased part of this program.
It's a collaborative effort that we work together as a team, unified as Wutiti people, and it's another great milestone and achievement.
Recipient Wutiti Aboriginal Corporation says it's a stepping stone to traditional owner-led management in the northern Great Barrier Reef.
Us managing our country like our elders before us, the authors of our own destiny.
The Great Barrier Reef is a big, amazing, beautiful place, and it takes many people to manage it, and particularly people that intimately know the country that they're working on.
Bethany Ross, 7 News.
Ahead tonight, a warning to Queensland mines to get ready for storm season.
And a young grazier's 400k bike ride to help beat a terrible cancer.
Central Queensland turns to 7 News to keep up to date on local issues, and we want you to be a part of it. If there's something happening in your street, your suburb, we want to know about it. Send us a message or drop us an email.
And thanks for joining us here on 7. Queensland mines are being warned to get ready for the likelihood of cyclones and severe storms between now and early next year. The use of explosives is more hazardous when the weather's extreme, and strategies need to be set to reduce harm.
It's the 1st of November, and that marks the start of storm season across Queensland.
Once you understand the risk, you can then make a plan.
And the risks go beyond preparing at home. The extreme hazards on mining sites have prompted a stark safety warning.
And all mine and quarry sites and resources industry sectors should be prepared for that.
From flooding to flying debris, operators must safeguard fabric structures and loose materials before they get in danger's way.
It's important to think about those things that could become projectiles or dangerous in a storm.
That's without the added danger of a lightning strike and the very real risk of a tyre explosion.
If there are thunderstorms about, the best thing that can be done is to stop operations prior to the thunderstorms arriving.
And hold off on work until the storm has cleared. This summer could be Australia's hottest on record, and rising ocean temperatures could mean more storms, rain and cyclones.
We are the most disaster-prone state in Australia, so we need to be prepared.
Tom Duffy, 7 News.
2 drivers have been caught more than 3 times the legal limit in the last week. One blew .177 on Bersica Street in Frenchville. The other recorded .169 on Darwin Street in Jericho. 259 speeding incidents were recorded in the police crackdown, including one driver who was clocked at 117 kilometres an hour in a 60 zone. Officers also conducted nearly 4,000 random breath tests.
A young Queensland grazier has persuaded her friends to join her on a 400-kilometre bike ride over 4 days. Their efforts raised awareness for pancreatic cancer, which has some of the lowest 5-year survival rates in the country.
From Taroom to Toowoomba, Emily Waters and 5 others hit the road for a cause dear to their hearts.
And then we had 7 support crew people that just helped us. Mostly family.
400 kilometres worth of sweat and fun.
I couldn't run because I was injured last year and then come up with the idea to cycle somewhere.
The group raised more than $27,000 for Pankind, its mission to triple the pancreatic cancer survival rate by 2030, a cancer Emily knows all too well.
Well, my mother passed away from pancreatic cancer in December 2018. And it's quite a deadly cancer.
And a sneaky one. Symptoms of the disease can often be mistaken for conditions such as gallbladder problems, reflux and muscular pain.
I hadn't heard of anyone that had had it when my mother was diagnosed, and a lot of the symptoms can be just a lot of different things like back pain.
Pankind data shows survival rates for pancreatic cancer in rural and regional areas about 6%, 50% less compared to the city. The ride finished where Emily's mother spent her final days in hospital.
It was a overwhelming but also very exciting feeling riding into St Andrews.
Josh Van Staden, 7 News.
Oh, fantastic. Good on you, Emily, and all of your crew. A special delivery from the North Pole has just arrived at Customs House. Less than 2 months out from Christmas, Santa's letterbox is ready to receive wish lists from all the naughty and nice children in Rockhampton. And if you send your letter to Santa by Monday, the 9th of December, you're promised a direct response from the man in red himself. Just address it to Santa Claus at the North Pole with your return address on the back.
November 1, so you know what that means as well, Joe. We could put our Christmas lights up now.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm one of those people. Love it.
December 1.
No, November 1 here. I'll get in trouble for that.
All right, let's have a look at what's happening in sport. We're in for a huge weekend of touch footy, aren't we, Nate?
Yeah, Joe, the annual Red Rooster Carnival will see over 150 teams in action from tomorrow in Rocky, while in the cricket, the Glen will head up the Bruce for a top-of-the-table clash against the Falcons. And welcome back for all of tonight's sport. A top-of-the-table showdown between the Glen and defending premiers Frenchville will headline tomorrow's action in Rockhampton cricket. The Gladstone-based side was knocked out in the semis by the Falcons last season, and they'll be out to redeem that loss tomorrow afternoon.
The top 2 sides will go head-to-head tomorrow at the cricket ground. It's Frenchville against the Glen.
I think everybody, when they start the season off for those two clubs, they'd be looking at this particular game, round 3 of the competition, and right in the middle of representative season where a lot of players from both clubs are pushing for selections.
In the other round's games, Gracemere will head down the beach to take on a Yeppoon side looking for their second win of the season. Meanwhile, new kids on the block, the Taipans, make the trek up the Bruce to battle with Rocky Brothers.
It'll be good to see how the Taipans continue to progress because they are challenging the sides they're playing against, and I'm sure that first win's not far away. So, it'll be good to see how they come up against Brothers.
The competition will once again be put on pause after this round as rep cricket returns with CQ heading to Mackay for the North Queensland Championships.
We've set ourselves a good platform in the first couple of rounds, which we've done in the past, but hopefully we can kick on in Mackay and bring back a trophy.
Yeah, the representative scene is something that has got a lot of players really confident about their cricket at the moment. They're playing well, the CQ boys. We're really happy with the way they're playing, and I know I've got a squad of about 16 that we're looking at, and we have been the last 3 weeks.
Round 3 action begins at 10 a.m. Brad Villiers, 7 News.
Touch footy teams from all across regional Queensland will be making their way to the Cyril Connell Fields this weekend to fight for the championship title at the annual Red Rooster Carnival. The event will feature a record 150 teams competing from Mackay to Bundaberg, and it has become one of the biggest tournaments on the sports calendar. Teams from under 10s through to 18s will compete in the 2-day touch footy extravaganza, and it starts early in the morning. And there's racing at Keppel Park tomorrow in Yeppoon. Here now with all of his best bets, it's our resident expert, Russell Leonard.
Yeah, that's right, Spurling. We're off to the beach tomorrow. Keppel Park, Yeppoon. It's Cup Day down there, one of the great race days of the year. Coincides with the running of the Derby at Flemington. Locally, 5 races sit down for decision. The track's in great order. Kick things off at 1:30. Winners are what we need. So let's profile my best bets for tomorrow's card. Early mail specials, and we kick up in the opener. Hero like the toppy, Cherry Rose. Well, she boasts a wonderful record, this girl, 3 from 5. She's first up, but a fresh record is good. I do think she'll be winning, and Justin Stanley does the riding for the Jamie McConaughey stable with Cherry Rose. Then to the big one race for the Cup. Hero like horse 5, Kathy's Bow. Well, he's flying, this fellow. He's won his past 3 straight. I do think he'll continue on his winning way and put the picket fence next to his name. Stanley also does the riding, but this time for the Taylor Yard with Kathy's Bow. Oh, there they are, punters. My good things are racing at the beach. Cherry Rose in the opener. Kathy's Bow race for the Cup. You stick with them and the pockets will be full of legal tender at the end of the day. Bet responsibly. Good luck, good punting, and I'll catch you at the track tomorrow.
Good on you, Russell. Of course, it all leads to Melbourne Cup Day on Tuesday, and that's it for our sport. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks for that, Nate. After the break, Livio joins us. He'll have all the weekend weather details, and Darren Everard has our beach report as well.
G'day, Livio, Regano with tonight's weather. November kicks off with a typical dose of late spring weather. A cacophony of electrical storms erupting over central and southeastern Queensland with some giant hail and lashing winds. Tomorrow a cool change will hopefully soften the storms. In Rockhampton today our top temp was 36 degrees, which is warmer than yesterday. Gladstone hit a high of 32 and Emerald got to 37. To the satellite loop, well, it was a sort of a repeat of yesterday with thunderstorms forming this afternoon over a line across central Queensland in through the southeast, but they were more isolated this time. However, those that occurred were quite nasty with warnings current, one through the Brisbane metro area, another one coming sort of not far from Gympie Noosa towards Rainbow Beach. Warnings are still current, so keep an eye on for those. And lots of high cloud streaming across northern Queensland, but not very productive, except the inland tropics is beginning storms. So today's chart. The inland trough is in a much more favourable position than yesterday to produce these storms. It's further east, and all east of that trough is under the influence of the very warm northwest to northeasterly wind, a quite humid wind as well. On tomorrow's chart, the southern section of that trough breaks off, starts moving up the coast in the form of a southeasterly change. So it's going to cool down over the southern half of Queensland, staying warm in the north. On the outlook chart, that southeasterly change finally reaches the tropics, maybe dropping the temperature by a degree if we're lucky. And now the latest from BOM. The boating forecast for Capricornia waters: northerly winds no more than 20 knots tomorrow, then an easterly shift on Sunday, 10 to 15 knots, becoming northeasterly on Monday. The new moon spring tides are upon us, so it's a time of dramatic ocean movement with really high peaks and equally exaggerated periods of low water. The Capricornia district, we got possible severe thunderstorms in the southwest tomorrow. That's around Biloela, which will be 33. For Gladstone, it's 30 degrees. Rockhampton at 33, Yeppoon 29. Central Highlands and Coalfields, afternoon storms. They could be severe and there's a high fire danger. Emerald 36 degrees, same for Claremont. Moranbah 35. Looking ahead for Rocky, after a slightly cooler weekend, our temperatures will return to the low to mid 30s fairly quickly. As far as rain goes, expect nothing and you won't be disappointed. Tonight's photo from Moreton Island came with a question: why was the storm moving against the wind? My answer: most thunderstorms are over 10 kilometres high and tend to get steered by high altitude winds, which can be very different from winds at the surface. Thank you, Jack and Vern from Aruna. Hope that answers your question. Catch you Monday. Now it's over to Darren with the Beach Report.
Hi, I'm Darren Everard from Surf Lifesaving Queensland with this weekend's beach report for your region. It looks like a great weekend on the beaches across central Queensland region. With high tides mid-morning and an east-northeasterly breeze blowing, it'll be great for a visit to the beach across the region and a barbecue by the beach. Congratulations to Emu Park on their success at the North Aussie Championships in Mackay last weekend. Our volunteers and lifeguards look forward to seeing you at our patrol beaches, so make sure you drop in and say hello. Remember, only swim between the red and yellow flags at a patrol beach.
Great, thanks for that, Darren. And that's all from us for this Friday. Have a fantastic weekend.
And a reminder, if you'd like to see anything from our news again, you can catch it on 7plus or download the 7 News app. Like Joe said, have a fantastic weekend and we'll catch you back on Monday night.
Good night.